Hello, my friends. I just came back from a walk in the woods. I went over in the bottom of my farm. I have a bunch of wooded area at the stream bottom, and I picked 4.5 pounds of these mushrooms, and these are what we called Papinka, which the known name is honey mushroom. These are the ones I used to pick with my aunt, and they're, I think, the best smelling mushroom around. This hillside and valley, I'm going to be searching for mushrooms. I already kicked one deer up, so I'm trying to be quiet so I can maybe get another sight of them. They grow in clusters in wooded area, and you know, let me give some close-ups of these. They have white gills. The smell is a real strong mushroomy smell. I think it's the best one going. And here's some opened, some unopened. Okay, here's these white gills, honey colored top. The closed ones like that, those are always the best tasting ones. And when we harvest these, the way we would process them, when I'm in the woods, I'm usually cutting the base and cleaning the leaves and that off the top, and they blend in real good to the leaves, so they're sometimes hard to find. But we cut them like this and then dry them. So I'm going to clean them, and when you cut them, you look for little wormholes. And these were real clean, almost no worms at all was seen. I would see a few slugs on some of them, but hardly anything. They were all clean. They're immaculate. So I'm going to process this whole batch, and tomorrow I'm going to take a walk. Today I was just looking to see if something was coming up, and I was surprised to see these. They have a short window to pick them in, and my aunt used to know the timing, and it's about a 2-week time period that you can pick these. I think she told me that there was 2 different times at which you could pick, but both of them are only about 2 weeks in length. And the timing, at least here where we live, is right at when it's grouse season, the hunting season. So that was how she would time when to pick these, is when it was grouse season. So I guess I could get a game book and look up the season, but apparently it's right now, because these are just coming up. And we'll see how tomorrow turns out. See, right there is a leaf. So I'm looking for things sticking like that, and most of the debris you just use a brush. Some people carry a brush with them when they're picking, and they clean right as they pick. but I am super impressed that there's almost no worms. Right there. First honey mushroom that I seen. Now there are going to be a lot more because of the way they grow. I'm going to gather those up. The honey mushroom is the largest living organism in the world. Best way to prepare the honey mushroom when you're cooking is to saute it. And that's what we would always do. We would saute it in butter and serve it with pierogies, homemade pierogies. That's the traditional way to eat these, at least for my family. Here's honey mushroom growing with some other kind, so you gotta be careful picking and identifying. Right there, honey mushroom. And right here. Growing in a clump. When you're picking mushrooms, identify every mushroom that you pick before you put it in the bag. The deadly gallerina can be growing right with the honey mushrooms. The honey mushrooms will have the white gills on the underside, so look for that on every one of them. I use this dehydrator a lot for drying a lot of fruits and vegetables and my mushrooms. My grandmother would dry her mushrooms in front of a register at her home. Papinka, the honey mushroom, they have white gills. They were whiter out in the field, right here, white gills, and it makes a white spore print if you want to test just to make sure. I find the easiest way to cut the mushroom into pieces is to plunge the blade of your knife into the center of the cap and then just pull it apart, and it will split right down the center of the mushroom stem. And also, when I'm cutting these, I like to have the mushrooms into sizable pieces that when you're cooking them, they are bite size and not real large chunks. Here's one cluster that I didn't cut. Must have pulled it up and not trimmed it up like I normally do. I love looking for wildlife while I'm walking in the woods. This is the orb weaver spider. A few interesting facts about mushrooms. There are more than 1,000 different kinds of wild mushrooms that are sold as edible mushrooms around the world. Some markets in Italy offer more than 200 different kinds of fresh mushrooms. There are more than 100 mushrooms that are now being cultivated. There's more than 400 different kinds of mushrooms that are medicinal and used in almost every country in the world. Some of the latest research that is being conducted with mushrooms is an area around Chernobyl. They have discovered mushrooms growing in a contaminated area, and these mushrooms are absorbing or living off of the radioactive material. The mushrooms are then being collected and disposed of as nuclear waste or hazard. The other area that's being researched is putting the mushroom mycelium in a mat of human hair and putting that over top of oil spills, and the mushroom will be eating or thriving off of the oil, and it will clean up the oil mess. When collecting mushrooms, it's not recommended to use a plastic bag as I am doing. I'm only a minute walk away from my house. The plastic will cause the mushrooms to sweat and cause them to spoil quickly. Use either a basket or a cloth or a paper bag. And of course, clean the mushrooms as you're putting them into the bag to keep the debris from dirtying all the other mushrooms that's in there. Here is the result of my cleaning and drying of 10 pounds of mushrooms. Thanks for watching, my friends. Bye-bye.